Hello, and welcome to episode 62 of the Post 20 podcast. My name is Evan. I'm joined, as always, by my faithful co host, Matt. What's going on, Matt?
What's up, everybody? A nice chill Friday here. Nice little day off. Got to sleep in a little bit. Um, and we got a whole week of a lot of major storylines, huge wins in the Prem, and so forth. We're gonna get into that, but I know Evan wanted to touch on some other stuff before that.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to go over my current situation, how the week went for me.
Hmm.
Um, I'm 2 weeks into the semester now. It is by far the most unreasonable and ridiculous workload and course schedule I've ever had. So only three of the classes have actual Zoom meetings, right? So I only have
Yeah,
to be in the Zoom for three of the classes. However, the amount of work in those three classes, coupled with the fact that I have to be in the Zoom meetings paying attention to the lectures, is unreal. I mean, I'm doing nearly 40 pages of original analysis per week I'm writing on top of a novel. It's a short novel that I have to write for one of my creative writing classes. And I just don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't know why I'm in school. It seems like a complete waste of time at this point. I mean, you said it before we started the episode, but professors, their job has gotten easier. Whereas as the student, our job has gotten harder. And last semester it wasn't like this. It was fairly easy actually, and I think professors were like, "Oh, let's take it easy on the kids. This is quite an adjustment." But, you know, 4 months in between that semester and this semester, it's not 4 months. It was a month, by the way, actually. So, I don't know why I said 4. That doesn't make things any easier on us. I mean, this shit is fucking brutal, and the amount of work is just it's through the roof for every student that I've talked to, whether they be in my program or a different program or even at a different school. So, if you're a student right now and you're getting absolutely hammered by work, my thoughts are with you. I may be at that point where I just fucking drop out. Who knows? We'll see. We're gonna see how the next 2 weeks go, but I just I don't know. It's brutal. I have no time to do anything. Like I can't even get up and go to the gym in the morning and get a good workout in. I would so much rather just be working, doing whatever the fuck. I don't need a degree. You know what I mean? Like you don't need a degree to do the job you're doing, right?
no, that was kind of going to be my next question. Like for myself, like I went for a sports management degree,
Yeah.
and at a time I was looking at a minor too, but I just dropped that because I couldn't be bothered. And
Yeah.
then, I mean, I enjoyed what I was learning because it was a mixture between the business sides of sports with whether you're in the front office or like I interned with our local high school athletic director. Like I like that side, the side of that major, and then on the other side you could do I mean, my general major was kinesiology, and there were
Mhm.
two like branches. You had sports management, and then you had exercise science. So early on, like I was doing like learning the body, like the origins and insertions of muscles, and the biggest thing of that major was it came down to like a 20 to 30 page research paper on a single movement in an athletic movement. So mine was a backhand swing in racquetball. So you had to break down the whole motion, the different angles, and like you had to like go into like trigonometry and all this stuff. And it was insane for one movement to come out to be 30 pages is so much. And you're saying you got to do like 40 pages a week of research writing and all that. I was going to ask you, like, I mean, you already answered it. Like, how can you do like the creative stuff like that you enjoy afterwards? Like
You
with
can't.
the show. Like, I don't know if there's like so-called writer's block or like a creative block, and then like you use exercising and lifting and that as a stress reliever. So there's all different ways. I don't know. I guess it comes down to the individual and how much you want it. Like you're already seeing that there's not really um what's the word? There's not like after this, after the degree, it's gonna leapfrog you into something you want to do. Like I just went into the post office because it was just here, local. Like, I don't see
Yeah, because
myself
you need a
leaving
job.
the area. I need a job right now, and I don't see myself leaving with what I'm doing with soccer training. The show with you and me, like being local here, we can do in person content. Like, there's a lot of things I can see with this in particular that we can grow. And like, I don't see anything major happening for a couple years, but right now we're laying the groundwork for
Yeah.
something that can turn into something that is even better. But right now, what it is, like, we enjoy it because we talk about stuff we love, and it's a creative outlet. So I mean, there's a whole lot to unwrap there, but I can understand where you're coming from with what you're saying.
Yeah, it is brutal. That like the writer's block thing that you said, that's certainly a problem I have. It's hard to do that hard line analysis and research and then just shut that part of your brain off and move to something else, whether it be writing for this show or trying to formulate my notes or thoughts for this show, um, or like obviously you saw I had to take a break from Wake Up Wednesday because it's just it's extra and I just don't have time for extra right now. I'm trying to keep myself as level as I can, and like when when you're all jammed up and your brain is like just firing on all cylinders at all times because it has to be, it's hard. It's really hard to unwind. Um, so I don't know. It's really cold here too. That's the other thing. Like I tweeted the other day, it's so fucking cold. I can't even go outside and like sit on the deck, have a coffee, decompress, try and get my work done. Like, you know, in the spring when it starts to get towards May and starts to get warm, and everything speeds up, I find that I speed up and my work speeds up. So I'm just kind of holding on hope until then. Hopefully things start to like smooth out, but it's definitely been rough. And like I said earlier, if you're a student and you're going through this type of shit, then my thoughts go out to you.
Yeah,
I still have a whole another semester. Well, it's not a whole semester. It's a capstone course and like a high level elective. But
yeah. Once that hits, like, I'll tell you from mine, it was pretty simple.
yeah, I know. I know that once I hit that, I'll just check. Like I already know, I'll just check out. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, you'll go through the motions, but it'll be pretty much over. This is like the last trial for you, and I would say, just as a piece of advice, just take it one day at a time, because I'm looking back to some hard days, like with that project I mentioned, and with other stuff. Like, you say you don't work well in groups, and like little things can happen with people, and
Yeah,
I mean, just one day at a time, one assignment at a time, and just look to the end. Like, you'll get a degree, and maybe in the end, that could come into your favor.
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what mine's gonna do right now, because with the post office, I could ride this out for 25, 30 years, retire at like 50, 55, and then be good, and then do something on the side. And who
yeah,
knows, like, this might take off in a way, or I might be getting more and more licenses in coaching and do higher levels of soccer coaching.
right.
So there's a lot of different things. You just got to take it one day at a time. And like you said, once you get out, just start making that money, and you can turn things into what you want.
Yeah, and I'm a hustler, man. I like to grind. That's just how I'm wired. And even this right now is kind of burning me down to that point where I don't want to grind, and that's how I know that something's up. So
Hmm.
we'll see if I need to make a change or not. I know that when it comes down to it, it's really only 12 more weeks of grind. I can do 12 weeks of grind, and then really I can forget about it and just
Yep.
move on to the next semester. Well, there's a whole summer in between, so hopefully it's a good summer. Hopefully all the Corona bullshit's gone, and
Yeah, that would help.
that's an aspect of it that I didn't even bring up, you know what I mean? Like that has such an effect on everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um but that's what's going on with my life. It's truly is my only platform to vent, so that's why I like to talk about it on here.
Yeah.
But we'll move past that and we'll move on to something more important. The Premier League fixtures of well, it was midweek really.
Hmm.
We'll talk about them and then we will move on to the next match week. All right. So we'll start off with Sheffield United 2, West Brom 1. Kind of a shitty game.
I mean, from start to finish, watching little bits of it, because I was driving, and like when I could just look at the game, it's just Sheffield controlled the entire game.
Yeah.
I know in the previous episode we talked about their matchup against City, And I said they looked like the Sheffield of last year that finished in ninth place. Like they are showing resilience at the back. Their structure is looking a lot better. They've been on a good run recently, 3 wins in the last five in the league, and I know
Mhm.
they got a couple wins in the League Cup and that whatever, or the FA Cup, I should say. But yeah, West Brom bringing in those four signings. I know all of them didn't play. They had that new ND and guy or whatever his name is,
Yeah.
but he's like a big bulky striker
Mhm.
to link up with Robinson or Robson Canu, but it just didn't work out for the day for them.
Yeah.
And Sheffield pulled through. I know West Brom got the early lead
Yeah.
with Matt Phillips. It was kind of scuffed. Ramsdale could have done better with the deflection save, but Sheffield showed their grit. John Fleck had a great day in the middle, and it eventually turned out in their favor. I think they like. I mean, you said this 6, 7 weeks ago. You think Sheffield can get out of this,
Yeah.
and I think out of the three teams in the relegation zone, I think they have the best chance. Even though they're in the bottom, they're on 11 points, whereas Fulham's on 14. But I think out of all of them, they have the best shot to get out.
Well, that's the thing. You said that they did look more structured, and in this league, it is truly all about momentum. You're watching City carry a 11 game win streak right now because of, I would say, mostly momentum. They're missing a ton of players, and look how they're playing. And if Sheffield can continue to string wins or draws along, then you're right. They do have the best chance of getting out of the relegation zone. And I perhaps was a bit early with with my assessment. I did call it a while ago, but yeah, I think that's actually a really good point. They're getting guys that aren't necessarily on the score sheet onto the score sheet. So if it's a collective team effort and they can manage to string a couple more wins together and get themselves, maybe even just above Fulham, I think that that's a massive confidence boost. And I think when you get towards the end of the season, and you see this with a lot of teams, that we have to stay up mentality really does improve the way that they play. So I think Sheffield are definitely a team to keep your eye on, and especially if you're a bettor, they are typically very, very undervalued. Like that, their odds are always amazing. So keep
The
your eye out.
only the only problem I have to say is their next couple matches. They play Chelsea this week, and then they have to play West Ham, and then they have a big matchup against Fulham.
Yeah,
But another thing is they need luck from the teams above, and it's not coming right now because Brighton is in good form. Newcastle look okay, and Burnley's hit or miss, but they have 11 points to catch up on. So they need a lot of things to go in their way while also getting results.
yeah. But I think that it'll be it's an interesting thing to keep your eye on. It's like an interesting saga, the Sheffield saga. So we will have to see. West Brom really not looking so great, huh? It seems like Big Sam maybe in jeopardy.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, the was it what is West Brom have conceded 26 goals in their last 9 games under Big Sam.
That's horrendous. That is horrible.
It's insane
3 goals
because
a game almost, man. That's
it's
terrible.
you're giving up two to Sheffield, who's bad. The previous week you're giving two up to Fulham, and then the week before you're giving up five to City. It's like it's just leaky, leaky, leaky. I don't know how you can get consistency at training with that in mind that you're averaging 3 goals a game against. It's very tough mentally. I mean, this is the best time right now because they're playing. They play Tottenham this weekend. This is probably the best time to play them, if I have to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just they're definitely going down. I know in the preseason I thought they finished like 17th, but I do not see them staying up. They need guys to step up now, and I don't see that going for them in the attack.
Well, they're like mega disjointed. We talked about the structure that Sheffield has and has kind of maintained even when they weren't looking their best. West Brom is just very disjointed. We saw in the first week that Big Sam came in that they played with some defensive structure, but that's only because he threw everyone into the fucking 18. That's the only reason that it looked like that. It's not necessarily even a park the bus because you've seen him continue to try to do that and it doesn't quite work like it did in those first couple weeks. So that's disjointedness and just failure really to ever get off the ground in the first place, I think is going to be West Brom's downfall.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe they'll be back up in a few years.
Hmm. Yeah, them and Norwich are like the most up and down teams. I think the stat was they've been up or they've switched leagues 9 out of the last 20 years or something.
Yeah, I mean it's when you do that, the hardest part is if you don't hit the ground running when you come up, like Leicester did, right? Leicester is an example of a team that got very lucky. The circumstances were very fortunate for them. They had good players. They were able to move good players, make money, and then obviously make money off of coming up as well. So that sets you up for a good financial situation. When you are going up and down and up and down and up and down, and the amount of money you're getting as a club, TV money or league money or whatever it is changing rapidly, it's hard to set yourself into a concrete financial situation. And I think that's a large part of what you see with West Brom, with Norwich, and then what you saw with teams in the early 2000s with Blackburn Rovers. They were a huge club. They were actually a club that used to contend in like the 90s. They won the league one year. So I see Matt telling somebody to leave. Um, but yeah, that's a part of the game, unfortunately, the financial side. So we shall see. Let us move on. We talked so much about Sheffield West Brom. Okay, so the Arsenal Wolves game. Arsenal should have won the game. It was stolen. It was
Yeah.
thieved. It was thieved by the referee. I forget what his name is. I'm gonna find it.
Well, I know Southampton came out and said they don't want specific refs for them in the next couple matches. I'm sure Arsenal's going to put out the same thing.
Let me find
This
the
Wolves got the double on Arsenal this year. Both finished 2-1, but both games they weren't clean games. In the first matchup, you had the big head collision with David Luiz and Raul Jimenez,
yeah.
which gave them motivation to go on and win the game. And then in this game, you had two red cards that were. I mean, the first one was bullshit. Leno's was just a misjudgment. I don't know
Yeah,
what he was
that
doing out
that's
there.
that's a red card every time, unfortunately. By the way, the ref's name is Craig Pawson. Fuck you, Craig Pawson. All my homies hate Craig Pawson.
Dude, when you tweeted out, I think you said something about getting that man
I
assassinated.
said this ref should be shot, and I think he probably still should be. I mean, it was thievery.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you can send a call to VAR. You send it to VAR. You show me the viewer, the VAR, where David Luiz doesn't touch him, and then you let the pen happen and you uphold the red card. I know we've talked about VAR 100 times. I know that sometimes it works out in your team's favor, sometimes it works against your team. That's just the nature of VAR. But this was disgusting. It
Yeah.
was obscene. Arsenal had 5, 6 clear chances in the first half. They looked the sharpest offensively that I've seen them play in a few weeks.
hmm
And unfortunately Saka hit the post and Pepe hit the bar, and then eventually Pepe
Well,
scored.
well,
But
Saka scored in like the third minute, but Lacazette was offsides
yeah,
for
exactly.
VAR.
Yeah, of course, VAR. Yeah, yeah. Um,
I mean, that win would have taken you above Tottenham
yeah, I know. It would have taken us above Tottenham, and Chelsea would still be a point ahead, right?
too.
If Chelsea would be a point ahead if they won, because they did win.
You're 5 behind Chelsea right now, so if you would have won, you would have been 2 behind. You'd
Two,
be
two
sitting in
behind.
8th right now.
Okay, yeah. Um,
You're still in it. I mean,
yeah, I
I,
know. They
I
could
think
still
for
finish towards the top, but
Wolves needed that win so bad because that was their first win in their last 9 games in the league. Their last one came against Chelsea mid-December, but like they have been playing so bad and needed that sort of luck to break for them to get out of that form. I mean, it wasn't deserved, like we keep saying
no,
that,
it was such a bullshit win.
but I mean they were in a downward spiral heading to the relegation battle zone.
I
I mean,
know.
they still could be, but I don't know. I think that the addition of William Jose, aside from the
Fuck Willian
dive,
Jose.
I know I'm saying aside from the dive and that, I think he adds like a whole new dimension
Yeah, he
to
does.
similar to what Jimenez did. He's that big like target man that can hold up the play.
Yep.
He's a guy you can target on crosses. He seems very natural in the air, winning headers. I mean, I saw it from the first game when what was it? They played. I think it was last week. Who did
Yeah,
they play last week?
I don't
Was it
remember.
Palace? Was it Palace?
Maybe.
Sorry. Yeah, they lost 1-0 to Palace. He had
Yeah,
like 3 great chances. And I picked him up instantly on fantasy. I was like, this guy adds something different to what they've been missing. And I mean, on the fantasy app, they credit him for assist. In real life, I don't think they give the person who earned
no,
the
they
penalty
don't.
assists. Yeah, that's like a fantasy thing, but it's just he adds something so different to them that they've been needing that I think they can carry this on. But for Arsenal's sake, this is their first loss
In a
since,
while.
yeah, in a while, and you guys gave up just as many goals as you have in that run. So, I mean, I think Arsenal's still in good form.
I do
Obviously,
too.
two red cards will never do you good, and I think that game is a flop. Like you can just completely throw that one away. I don't credit that to their form. There's nothing you can do there. But I mean, you come up against Aston Villa this week, should be interesting, and then the following week you got Leeds. So this is the run where Arsenal need to really come together. Mikel's got to bring the boys, say, guys, let's forget about that last game. We need to focus on the next one and try to push into the European competitions.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe fucking 69-year-old João Moutinho scored an absolute screamer either. It made me sick, dude. When I saw him bring the ball up to the 18, I was like, "Yep, dude, see ya. This game's ending 2-1."
Yeah.
And he fucking ripped it. The stats I don't think tell the whole story either here. Shots on
No.
target is 3. I mean, I saw at least fucking 6. The ones that hit the post and the crossbar I don't think count as shots on target.
Yeah.
So that's the story there. Just an unfortunate loss. It kind of made me sad because I thought after that first half, and well, here's what I will say: when I saw Willian Jose moving into around the 6, and I saw David Luiz behind him, I was like, oh yeah, here goes David Luiz reaching into his tragic bag to pull out one of his fucking horrible tricks and get us a red here, and then he did, but. I thought it was a red when I initially saw the tackle, but then they brought it to VAR and he pulled out.
Yeah.
I understand if you want to give a pen, maybe, but I don't think you can give a red because there's no intent. And I don't know. I guess it comes down to rules, and it's ultimately the ref's decision. But I just think that was a poor choice, and the FA need to be having a talking to Craig Pawson because I think he was paid. All right, let's move on. Manchester United 9, Southampton 0. This
That's a
is the
scuff.
craziest game I've ever seen. Like craziest game I've seen all season. It was scuffed. You are correct. Another red card in this game. In the
Second
was it
minute.
second minute? Jankowicz got a red. Uh,
Unreal.
just just a sus red, very sus red. And then or no, it was Bednarek's red that was sus actually.
Yeah, in the 86th. I mean, the
Yeah.
damage was already done. It was already 7-0. But I mean that Genuix guy is like a youngster. I think he came in. I think that was his first start the season. It's just, what are you doing, man? Like you're never gonna get the faith in the manager back from that.
Yeah, I just like I have no idea how you let 9 past you. I just
Everything that was touched in that box went in the goal.
it's horrible. I mean, you are letting absolute fucking dorks score on you. You're letting Daniel James score. You're letting a team have 24 shots on you while you only register 3. Southampton are not a bad team. They are defensively so solid. Of course, the red really hurts, right? But
Yeah.
but letting 9 past you behind a Manchester United team that isn't that potent in front of the goal,
No.
just bad scenes, bad business. That's
Yeah,
gonna hurt
and
Southampton
it
for
was
weeks.
oh my god, yeah, the goal differential is insane, but also like it was tough to see the likes of like Danny Ings not be able to fully contribute to the game how they want in the attacking end. They only had one shot on goal that's credited on here, but
Yeah.
it's tough having to defend the entire game and not get anything going forward. So you have no creative outlet. You're just constantly getting barreled down. And like Man U worked the ball well. They worked the ball to the wings, getting crosses in. I think 7 of the 9 goals were all from crosses into the box and for little tap-ins, which is how like Man City like to play too.
Yep.
They whip it out wide and then they'll get the little drag back for tap-ins, which was most of them. But you had one come out of the box, McTominay put away, and then you had the penalty from Bruno. It was an all around good game for Man U. They really took this game and just went with it, and it really helps in the goal differential battle. They're only 7 behind Man City now, whereas at the beginning of the week they were 14 behind.
Yeah.
So in the title race scheme of things, it's good for them. Right now, they lead the league now with 46 goals scored. It's not. I don't. They. I mean, they have 9 against Southampton, and then they
That's
have
the thing. It's not
six
in
against Leeds.
right. It's not indicative of their actual play, and
Like,
that's the point that I want to make too. After you're done,
you're good.
um, this is not indicative of who this Manchester United team is, and I don't want anyone to think that because that's going to mislead you when you when you go to place your bets. This Manchester United team is very beatable. You watch them just draw 0-0 to an Arsenal team that could hardly get anything going. That they are still pretenders, and I want everybody to know that, and I want everybody to understand that Ollie still doesn't know what he's doing. Just be cautious when you go to put them in a slip because any given week they can fucking slip and fuck you up.
Yeah, and they come up against a solid Everton side. Everton's plus 500 right now outright.
Amazing, amazing line.
It is at Old Trafford, but that's hasn't seemed to have been anything in the past with
They're
Arsenal coming
worse.
there and getting points and
Yeah.
Sheffield getting points at Old Trafford the previous week. So they are beatable at home. I think this Everton side can do it. We'll talk about it more when we get to that. But yeah, I think I agree with your point that this game doesn't represent the full picture of who they are. I think the consistency in the back is still an issue with Ollie's selection. They really, 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 really need somebody back there with Maguire that plays week in without because he keeps switching Lindelof by Zebe like every 3 games. He gives somebody new in there, and it seems like Luke Shaw is turning out to be a better player in the left back than their new signing Tellez. I don't know whether that's him having to get used to the league. I know that's been a problem with the Chelsea guys and with some other players in the league, but he hasn't been getting a consistent run in there, and Luke Shaw's really held down his spot. I don't know what you think of that, but their defense is where their championship run lays.
Oh, 100%. What is it? Offense sells tickets. What is it?
I think it's somewhat along those lines. Defense wins championships.
Yeah, and that's the truth. You see that pretty much in all sports, but especially in soccer. And I just I don't know what the situation is with Tellez. I can't really tell you. I think he's very talented, and I think at some point he actually will find his way to this team. Luke Shaw's not going to be like the answer forever. He's really not in good shape, and I don't understand how he's performing at the level that he is. It's kind of an anomaly. You've seen him before, and you know what he's actually capable of. He's just overperforming right now,
Yeah,
and
I got you.
and I saw the other day. If you ever go on Manchester United Twitter, it is actually the most diluted place in the world. The fans are so diluted, dude. It's insane. Someone was like, somebody had a poll. I don't know if it was a troll or not, but they are so diluted that I have a feeling it wasn't a troll. It said fucking best fullback of all time. It's a Danny Alves, Marcelo, Roberto Carlos, and Luke Shaw. And I was just fucking. Uh, they truly think a lot of people I've seen make the argument that he's the best fullback in the Prem this season. I That's just unbelievable. Luka
I'll give
D.
it to him that he's playing better than Robertson and Trent.
Oh yeah, he is, but I think Luka Digne has played better than all three of them, and he's only played maybe 3/4 of the game. The games
I
that
give I give him João Cancelo,
yeah
um, even Aaron Cresswell for West Ham. That guy's
yeah
been bad. He's got like 8 assists this year.
yeah he's been great. And honestly, even some of the guys on Leicester,
I mean,
they kind of play like a wingback role a little bit these days.
I think if Tyreek Lamptey was healthy, like he's been out for so long for Brighton that I think
Yeah,
he'd be up there.
yeah. So all of those guys for me, all those guys you just listed are above fucking Luke Shaw for me.
Yeah, you just see it as a short-term run for him.
Yeah, 100%. His fitness won't allow him to be a mainstay in that United
Yeah,
team. He'll get an injury and be done because he
yeah,
gets fatter every time he gets an injury.
yeah. He's had trouble. Like he had a broken leg, and
Mhm.
he's had other issues too. So I
Yep.
mean, for his sake, I hope it continues. But
Yeah,
I think realistically, this weekend and the next couple matches might be eye opener for him.
for sure. Moving on. Newcastle 1, Crystal Palace 2.
Newcastle came out in this game looking pretty good. First minute, Fraser whips a ball into Callum Wilson, who's in great form. Hold up play was nice, and Big Jonzo up top hitting a dagger.
Yep.
The Newcastle controlled it early. Then you had Palace get into it. This Palace team with their
So hit or
attackers,
miss.
yeah, it is hit or miss. But I think with that, Roy Hodgson has figured something out with the mixture of Zaha and Eze, and
Mhm.
then Ayu and Batshuayi as supporters. And I think the biggest thing for them going right now is their fullbacks with Van Aanholt and Klein. They're more dynamic, athletic fullbacks, whereas you have Joel Ward and who else do they have? Tyreek Mitchell's done pretty well there too at left back. He's a
Yeah.
very young Englishman out there. He can do it, but Van Aanholt's more experienced and can get the job done. But these two playing right now will really add something to their attack. And their most informed player right now is Eze, not even
Yeah.
Zaha. It's Eze,
As
and
it gives you a creativity that you're even not going to get from Zaha. It's just because of he's young and he sees the game differently.
he's added so much more to this team. Where everybody's watching Zaha, you got to watch out for this kid from
Yeah.
QPR. So I mean, they got the win. I think they deserved it. Even though Newcastle controlled the possession in that and the chances, but Crystal Palace know when to strike and they capitalized on it. Even Gary Cahill scored, which is
Yeah.
off a corner.
The
He lost his
ghost.
man.
The ghost of Gary Cahill.
Yeah, but Palace is looking okay. We keep saying their run of form is inconsistent. They lost 2 games and now they're on a 2-game win streak. I think they're going to finish in that mid-table based on that form. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you think of it?
Um, I don't have a ton to say. Palace are just inconsistent.
Yeah.
And while they are, I do think that they're pretty clinical, and when they get a nice build up and get the ball right where they are aiming to get it, and you know it falls for them, then usually if they can get one, they can continue and hold the lead. I think that their defense is actually solid. You just said Van Aanholt is certainly a player that is. I wouldn't even say he's playing above his caliber. I think he's just coming into his own. And the more you can rely on your defense, I know we said this about the last game too, the better. And you're giving guys like Eze the chance to develop and bud and some of that youthful creativity that you have as a young player coming up in lower leagues sometimes does carry over and translate into your first year in the Prem. And I think you're seeing that with Eze, and it's great that Zaha and Bats are like gaining, gaining service from that. So
Yeah.
Palace are a really hard team to bet on, extremely hard because they are
Yeah.
so inconsistent. And like I'll pick Palace to win one week, pick them to draw the next week, pick them to lose the week after that, and each time they'll give me an opposite result. That's just how they are. Um,
Saw a stat. It said Palace this is the first time they won back-to-back league games this year since the first 2 matches of the season. So
yeah, exactly. And they did look good. They looked really good at the beginning. So maybe this will be a turning point for them. Maybe they will manage to get themselves further up in that table. But I think, just like you said, they'll be finishing middle of the pack this year, as they typically always do. Okay, moving on. Oh, also, Newcastle just flat, really, after the first goal. Very, very flat. And that has something to do with throwing so many players into the back. Like they're playing four in the back, and then just right above it, they're playing Hendrick, Hayden, and Shelby because Shelby has no pace, so he kind of has to play back there.
yeah, they
Um,
lack they lack speed.
they just they really have nothing, and in ways of creativity, you're relying on just Miguel Almiron, and he's not really enough. I think they just need more. All right. Next game was Burnley Man City. City scored 2 on Burnley, who did not even register a shot on target.
Yeah, the Burnley have failed to register a single shot on target in their last 2 games.
Brutal.
It says it's the first side to do so in consecutive matches since Everton in 2018. They had probably the hardest 2 games I would say out of any team this season, back to back,
Yeah.
coming up against a resurged Chelsea side, and then you come up against an absolute oil factory of Man City. Very, very tough for Sean Dice to get anything out of the game. I mean, we're seeing the rise of, or the rebirth of Jesus, two and
Yeah.
two. Fernand Torres has had a part in that, and so has the other guys. But their most informed guy right now is Ilkay Gundogan. He's looking like the player back at Dortmund when he was very young, like
Yeah.
very goal like attack minded in front of the box, like getting a lot of chances.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's just when will City lose? Not even that. It's like
W-
when they can concede in goal. I think they have
will they
six.
lose?
I think they have 6 or 7 straight clean sheets this year, or currently right now.
Yeah. I mean, City are just able to throw so much forward. Rodri has the capability to get forward and push up while continuing to stay central. And then you have Bernardo Silva playing, they're playing with midfielders and wings. So it's like that FIFA formation where you can just get everything forward. And if you're playing with pacey guys, like you have Morez who still's got a bit of pace. You have Silva who's pretty quick. You have Sterling on the left, and then Jesus up top. Those four guys are really quick. And when balls are getting lobbed in and Jesus is getting good service, then it's really hard to mark both Jesus, the two wingers, Silva who's cutting in, and then guys like Gundogan are getting left unmarked,
Yeah,
and
it's a tough. It's tough.
he's really been he's had a career resurgence, I'd say. And when he first came in to that City team, Pep didn't play him much, and I don't think Pep had a lot of
So
confidence in him. But now he's a mainstay. I can't imagine what this City team would be playing like without him. He's provided so much for them. Good for Gundogan. I mean, I've
yeah,
always thought he was a good player. I've rated him.
when he first came in there, Fernandinho was in his prime, and you still had David Silva.
Yep.
I think Yaya Toure was at the very end of his career, and you had a couple other guys in and out of the team. But I think we're seeing the last of that old school Man City team from 2012, 2013 start to fade out. You have
Yeah.
Fernandinho, who doesn't play much anymore, and Kyle Walker's not in there much. I don't know whether it's his injury or whatever,
It's
but
injury and I think behavior too.
yeah, so like you're starting to see the next generation of City step up with Jesus, Fernand Torres, um, Foden. Those guys are like your next generation players,
Yeah.
and the main guys right now you have Sterling up there. Mahrez doesn't start as much; he's inconsistent. He doesn't get consistent game time, which I think if he didn't play at City, he'd be like at Leicester. He'd play
Yeah.
every single week.
For
He'd probably
sure.
have at least 10 goals and 10 assists. He'd have like a Harry Kane year right now, but
Yeah.
due to the depth of that Man City team. I know a lot of people like to say Chelsea on paper have the best team, but Man City just have experience and confidence in themselves that any guy who plays in that team is going to put up a great performance. You have even like Zinchenko at left back who does a great job.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't play at left back this week. Laporte played back there out of position. He's typically a center back, but
Yeah, and he can't even get to the side now because of Ruben
right.
Diaz and John Stones, which is tough because he was their big signing before
Yeah.
Diaz was back there. They thought he was the guy that would solve their goal problem,
Well,
and
yeah.
it's Diaz.
I mean, they paid a fuck ton for John Stones. They paid a fuck ton for Laporte. They paid a fuck ton for Ruben Diaz, but Ruben Diaz was the cheapest, and he's been the best. He has absolutely transformed the City defense. I mean, they are locked down. He's the
Yeah,
signing of the season. I looked at the stats the other day. I don't even know if it's a question. I think he's the signing of the season.
yeah, they lead the league with only 13 against, where the nearest team is 22, which is Arsenal.
Yeah,
So,
just
I mean,
shocking because our
yeah,
defense is horrid.
yeah, and City still have a game in hand over the all the teams 5 back from them. So they
Yeah,
could be 6 points in the clear. I mean, at this pace right now, with Man U inconsistency, Leicester's inconsistency, Liverpool. I mean, right now in that top six, Chelsea is like your highest stock team moving up, but they could win this thing by April.
yeah. I think that's probably where they're headed. I think that's the pace that they're on, and I mean, I know that the betting odds for City to win the league are like,
It's like 1-4.
yeah, they're already like minus 250 or some shit like that.
If you
So
took them back in October or November, you're laughing when they were in like 10th.
yeah, it's crazy, dude. It's been such a crazy run of form for them, and it's wild to see like just a couple weeks in a row, if you get a good string of games, it can propel you so far forward if other teams slip. All right, Fulham 0, Leicester City 2. I James Justin scored in the 44th. I said a couple weeks ago that James Justin was dog shit. Not a couple weeks ago, 10 weeks ago. I was wrong.
Yeah, you're retracting that statement here.
These guys, these young guys, Unger and Justin, are very, very good. The first couple weeks, it wasn't great for them. I think they were just getting used to playing in this side in the tempo that they play in this side.
Right.
But these guys are really good, and the loss of Vardy, I don't think is hindering Leicester as much as I may
I
have
mean,
predicted.
your boy Iheanacho stepped up now that Perez didn't do the job up
I
front. He got
know.
a goal.
And so it's great to see that these young guys are stepping up and making Leicester threatening, even though they're missing their lead guy. Vardy's like the heart and soul of the team, as well as the scorer. So
Mm.
it's been great. Unfortunately, Fulham not really getting it done, not really looking as sharp as I thought that they may. I thought that this was one of those games where maybe you'd see Fulham at least get a couple shots on, or maybe even a goal. But Leicester dealt with them clinically. 2-0. It's a good result for them.
Yeah, I think Fulham's a well-rounded side for the standard of what they are, like with
Yeah.
the talent they have. I think Scott Parker puts out a decent side. I mean, they come out in a 3-4-3 or sometimes a 5-2-3. Like Ola Aina does well in the back. He's like their big bulky guy who clears everything away, and they have that Tosin Adebayo on loan from City. He does well. Just the problem is in the final third. They just can't get that final ball in there to where they can put clear chances on goal. And even when that happens, they don't have the guys up front that put them away week in and week out. Like Mitrovic is inconsistent. Lookman's very young. Loftus Cheek on loan from Chelsea. He can't get the job done right now. And even the guys off their bench, they just can't get consistent goals in every week. They just struggle, and that's probably why they're going to be down in that battle for the rest of the season. But on the Leicester side, James Madison stepped up.
Oh, he's so
Uh,
good, isn't he?
yeah, he's done really well. He'll probably get a nice contract extension because everybody's going to want to sign him and steal him away. So he's going to get a big pay boost this year, probably. Um, Ndidi hasn't been playing recently with injury, and speaking of that, Soyuncu, like their main center back's
So
back now.
true, yeah.
Yeah, he's back now with Evans in there. They were playing Amarty in the back there at times and some other people, but James Justin is a very good young fullback who bombs up the field. He kind of reminds me of Reece James in a way.
Yep, a little bit.
He does very well, and even Harvey Barnes. So I mean, Leicester's on the up. We discredit them to finish in the top four with our prediction, midseason prediction, but it'll be interesting to see with Chelsea climbing back up there, and you'd like to say Liverpool in there. So it's going to be a battle to the end to see who grabs those top four spots.
Yes, we shall see. Leeds United versus Everton was the next game. Everton getting out by the skin of their teeth. They
Yeah.
escape Leeds. So Everton did score the first two goals. It wasn't until the 48th when Rafinha got one back for Leeds. But Leeds are a team that once they score, things start to open up for them. So I think that this was a very narrow escape for Everton. I think that they're very lucky to have gotten 3 points from this, especially because I think Leeds outplayed them.
Yeah, it's always tough to hold Leeds to just one goal. They're just very dynamic going forward with all their options, and I think their biggest downfall is defending set pieces. They've conceded 17 goals via set pieces, the most of any side, and this includes penalties. So they have a real big problem when crosses are coming in the box, corners, free kicks. They just can't match up well man to man, and that's what they're known for. Is Bielsa's everybody guards their man. You stick to that man, and that's your job. They don't do like zone, like passing guys off. It's like that's your job.
Yep.
So, and it's very turns out to be very exciting. Turns out to be very exciting soccer. very open. Anything can happen, and that's why they're probably the most entertaining team to watch this year, up
Yeah.
there with Man City.
Yeah. 16 shots for Leeds, 7 on target versus Everton's 10 and 6 on target. And Leeds outpossessed them. So Leeds are
Yep.
starting to play a more, I would say, possession based style. It's not as counterattacking as it was earlier on in the season. You start to see the counter get ripped out more when they're playing teams that are of a lower caliber. But they do adapt to the teams that are further up and play a more organized style. So that adaptation, I think, is what you're looking for in a team that is looking to make themselves a mainstay in the Prem. And yeah, Leeds continuing to impress me, continuing to I guess stay on my list of people to watch out for. It's just unfortunate for them that they couldn't get the win here. Everton needed that too. So
Yes.
all right, we shall move on to the next. Aston Villa 1, West Ham 3. This might have been my favorite game of the week.
Yeah, West Ham bouncing back after that tough Liverpool loss. The rising of Jesse Lingard, the return of Lingard.
Lingardinho. I just can't believe it, dude. I cannot believe that in his debut, he scored 2 goals.
2 goals for the big man. I mean, they were both Fabianski on the second definitely should have saved it, but the first one
Yeah.
he got a hand to, and that one definitely should have went in. And even another big story is Suchek gets on the board again. I think he leads the Premier League in goals for midfielders, excluding penalties, because
Yeah.
Bruno beats him
Bruno.
out on there. But from open play, he leads the league in goals in midfield. So very, very, very good business from David Moyes and West Ham. They get guys like him and Kufal for very cheaply that eventually they'll probably turn over to be 40, $50 million sales
Yeah.
in the future, which will really help the club. But right now, it's helping them. I mean, they sit fifth. Aston Villa is a tough team to handle like that. They held them pretty well. They holding them in only 2 shots on goal to their 10, and they were outpossessed. I mean, it could have been 4-1. You had Mikel Antonio chip Martinez, and Mings laid all 6-6 of himself out
So
to
that was
clear off the
crazy, wasn't
line.
it?
Yeah, he put his body on the line, showing why he loves the club and he's a dedicated player. But
Yeah.
they were just outclassed here. I mean, now that Lingard's in there, you have Ben Rama who does well. They signed him fully off his loan to buy,
Yep.
just because they had to, based off Lingard's loan. And Jared Bowen didn't play in this game, so now they have some depth off the bench to give them attacking options. So they have a really, really good team moving forward.
Yeah. Sorry, I just got a email from a professor, of course.
Fuck,
Yeah,
fuck off.
yeah, just Jesus Christ, dude. They do have a really good team moving forward, and I think Lingard actually does add an element of creativity in their attack. He wasn't gonna ever make a mark in that United team, considering they have so many attacking options, and really, you just can't you can't justify starting Lingard over uh, Bruno at any point. It's just not
Uh,
something you can justify. So it's nice to see that he maybe will get the chance to move on here. I'm glad that he's providing something to West Ham, and West Ham are a budding side. So it's kind of one of those things where it's mutual symbiosis. You know, they're both getting something from that move. It's maybe a little disappointing for Aston Villa here. I thought that they would do better. I didn't know if West Ham would win or Villa would win. I think I predicted a draw, maybe.
yeah, you
So
took a draw.
yeah,
I think I picked Villa to win.
I don't really think either of us were thinking West Ham would be the team to pull away. But Suchek continuing to prove why he's one of the best midfielders in the Prem this season. I hope he can continue that form. I know we've said it before. We're kind of both big fans of the way he plays and himself as a player. So I'm hoping
Uh,
that he continues to play like this.
yeah, and one thing for Aston Villa to note: ever since I called out Ollie Watkins for slacking in his last 4 games, he has 3 goals.
Yeah,
So very interesting to see from him. I don't know if he listens or not, but
he must.
he's gonna have to prove it again against Arsenal this weekend. So
No, I hope he doesn't listen this week. I'm praying that he doesn't listen this week. This upcoming week where Arsenal play Villa. It's the type of game they will lose. By the way, like they'll get slaughtered, but I'm still gonna bet on them.
Yeah.
Okay. Fucking pure comedy. This game: Liverpool 0, Brighton 1. Liverpool struggling with injuries continually. It's kind of a shame to see them slip because of the injuries, and I think that's really what it is. But it does cause me immense pleasure to see them lose, especially to a team that is named the Seagulls. I
Yeah.
just love it.
Yeah, and Liverpool have lost consecutive home games for the first time since September 2012 after their unbeaten home record of 68 matches.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's two teams you wouldn't even expect. You have Burnley and then Brighton.
Yeah.
Like
Both
you
1-0,
would,
right?
yeah, and like those teams, you'd think it'd be like a Man U and an Arsenal or something, but nah, it's like I mean, Pep's come out and said in past interviews saying that Graham Potter's the best English manager right now in the Prem, giving him a lot of credit to how he structures that Brighton team with the little amount of talent he has there.
Yeah.
He does very well with that depleted strike force. Danny Welbeck was picked up, and now he's been gone the past 3 months. I don't know what happened to him. He scored like 2 goals and then just stopped playing.
Yeah.
But I
That
mean,
guy.
their whole team is built around their defenders. They have Lewis Dunk, their captain, centerpiece. Webster does well, commanding in the back line, and then they also have Ben White, who's I think they got him full time from Arsenal, right? Or am I
Yeah.
wrong?
No, I
Yeah,
think I think Ben White was an Arsenal guy. Let's check.
yeah. They had him on loan, or Leeds had him on loan last year in the championship, and then they couldn't get him back, and Brighton jumped on him, keeping him or getting him from them. So that's a great pickup. So I mean, all around they're a solid team. Nothing crazy. It's like a very structured, well, like they're put together, kind of how West Ham are, just very built to the system, and it works out for them in their favor.
Yeah. Oh, actually, here you go. He was a Southampton youth product, and then he was on loan at uh well, he went to Brighton, they bought him. Then he was on loan at Newport, then Peterborough United, and then Leeds. So some
Okay.
small clubs. But yeah, great performance really from that Brighton unit. Like you said, Graham Potter doing a lot with very little. He doesn't have a ton of creativity. He really relies on Solly March, Leandro Trossard, and then kind of on
Okay.
what's that? And
Neil.
Mapai really, yeah, to score. Because he's not necessarily a super creative player. They play that weird three at the back and then like five in a straight line across the midfield and
Yeah.
and kind of rely on those midfielders to do what they can, even though they're not necessarily very pacey. So it was an interesting game. It's just it's unfortunate for Liverpool to lose here. I don't think that you have any reason to lose to a Brighton team like this when when you still have two of the best fullbacks in the league and and three fantastic midfielders. You have Thiago, you have Wijnaldum, and you have Milner. Those
Do
guys are
you
very experienced.
do you think them not getting involved in the attack as much is due to a lack of confidence in their center backs not
Yes.
covering them?
Yes, I do. I think that they're relying on Phillips and they're relying on Henderson, who's playing out of position, and that's certainly an issue for the attackers because I think that they're worried that they're not going to have that strength at the back. Van Dijk is just such a presence on the pitch, even with just his size, not necessarily his play, and he is a leader. So when you're losing him, and then you're losing Joe Gomez, who is a budding star, and you're losing Matip. I mean, they are just so decimated at the back. And Allison didn't play in this game either. You had that Calvin Kelleher kid, the Irish kid,
Hmm.
who is kind of suspect. I would say he's young. He's just not ready yet. So
It was
I still don't think they have an excuse though, because Firmino's top class and and Salah is top class. Like,
it was the second match in a row Mane didn't play.
right? I don't know what's going on with him. I think he has some sort of thigh injury, maybe something like that. So
I think they rest him in this game because of the upcoming match they have.
yeah, that's true. But yeah, disappointing from Liverpool. It's great to see that they're just absolutely fading into obscurity like Tottenham is. Uh, there's a kid in one of my group chats that like he's like, I can't wait for for Liverpool to win the UCL in the Prem next year. I said, dude, you literally just started watching and you picked Liverpool to be your team. You have no fucking idea. You have no clue what this sport is. You don't know how quickly shit can turn bad. 1 week can be the difference between a team winning the league and finishing mid-table. It's insane. There's not this level of parity in any other sport in the entire world. Not the NFL, not the MLB, not the NBA. It does not matter. Anyone can beat anyone in this fucking league.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy I work with, coworker at the post office. He said he started watching a year ago. He wanted to pick up a new sport to
Yeah,
watch, and he picked soccer. And he said oh, my light died.
I saw.
Um, and yeah, he picked up Chelsea. He just figured they would be the type of team to go with, and he's enjoyed it so far. And like he wants to learn. He's not coming in here like thinking, oh, they're gonna win everything. He's just open to learning about the game and wants to
Yeah.
learn the history, and he's taking it from that sort of standpoint. So
That-
I always like when people get into the sport and it's new, and you see that fresh insight into a sport from their aspect. So it's nice to see. But that's funny from your friend thinking they're gonna come and
Oh, dude,
just
it
win
was
the
so
Champions League.
annoying. He just came in from nowhere. He's like, "Yeah, I'm a Liverpool fan." He's like, "Oh, yeah, I used to watch them. I used to play with them on FIFA in FIFA '09. Don't give a fuck who you played with on FIFA. And I don't care. That doesn't give you a legitimate right, some God-given right to be, the world's biggest Liverpool sucker. I just,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it doesn't make any sense. And if you give me those types of stats after Liverpool hadn't won the league, of course they won last year, but before that, it had been like fucking forever.
Mm.
So the possibility to repeat as well is so low because it's just so hard. There's so many games, and it's just such a grueling schedule. You don't see repeats in the Prem really like you do in the NBA and the NFL. So yeah, we'll have to see if Liverpool can get it together and finish towards the top this season. I don't necessarily see things getting all that much better until VVD gets back. So we'll have to see. Your light's
Yeah.
all fucked up, it seems.
Yeah, my light's messed up. I was trying to plug in a charger for it, and then like I messed with my mic, and then my mic wasn't working while you're talking there, and then I just had to do it's a whole lot of bullshit. So
Okay, it's no big deal.
I really just need like a setup upgrade.
It's all right. I hear you. Okay. We will recap this last game, Tottenham Chelsea, and then quickly move through our predictions before leaving you guys. Okay, Tottenham 0, Chelsea 1. The difference here was a Jorginho penalty nestled away in the 24th minute. Not a necessarily crazy game in terms of chances. 2 shots on target for Chelsea and the same for Tottenham. Possession somewhat even, although Chelsea did tip the scale there. I think Chelsea looked solid. That is what I will say. They didn't look like anything to write home about, but they were certainly strong enough to get the result here against this Tottenham team. Mourinho not happy with the result, and it seems to me like Tottenham are slipping a little bit. And you're right, Harry Kane was obviously the catalyst for them.
Yeah, this Chelsea side with Tuchel. Tuchel's the first Chelsea manager to keep a clean sheet in his first 3 matches at the club since Jose Mourinho started in his first stint back in '04. And this is the first time in Mourinho's history as a manager to ever lose back-to-back home matches. So, I mean, this Chelsea side looks very, very good defensively, which is, I think, when you first come into a side as a new manager, that's what you want to focus on is keeping clean sheets so that you can get those results. You get one good chance and it goes in your favor. But they really, really need to push for more goals. I mean, they got that early penalty with Werner. I don't know what Eric Dyer was doing on the ground, just kicking away at
Yeah,
Werner, hacking at his legs. I don't know what because Alderweireld was right there, and they had plenty of opportunities to not let that happen.
yeah,
But Chelsea capitalized. There were plenty of chances for them to score. There were so many times where Kovacic would pick up the ball in the middle and the middle of the field just open. It'd be like the parting of the seas of Moses, bro.
Yeah.
He would just drive into that space. Werner, Pulisic, Mount, whoever would split those fullbacks, pull them wide, and Kovacic would be in, and he just fucking kicked it wide. Like he
That's the
wouldn't even
thing.
get a
Like,
full chance.
yeah,
Like we don't have that. We don't have that driving force like a De Bruyne or like a Pogba
yep.
or a Bruno that is goal driven. Just has the nose to get in those areas and put them away. Like Kovacic isn't that type of player. He's the guy to get the ball, drive forward, beat a guy, and then let it go. Like he's not the scorer.
Yeah, he's just that's not how he plays. He's not goal oriented. He's more creative. And that's you're right. That is just something that Chelsea are lacking. Maybe they need one of those attacking midfielder type players. And I know you've said that a couple times now. They are missing someone like De Bruyne or someone like Bruno. I think if you add that into that team, then Chelsea are like totally different. And I thought maybe Havertz would be that. He's of a similar stature as Pogba, and he has a similar skill set and ability, although he is a little bit more attack focused. But you saw the way that Pogba played at Juve. They threw him forward sometimes, and he
Yeah.
he can play as an attacking midfielder, and sometimes he used to do quite well. So I think if you see Havertz develop a little bit, and hopefully he will. Hopefully you guys won't get rid of him, and if you do get rid of him, maybe Arsenal can get him for a cut rate because I think he'd do
Right.
well there. But if you see him develop, I think that he could truly be one of those guys that gets that done for you. Because I mean, if you watched him play at Leverkusen, he's capable of some magnificent shit.
I think we have too many star quality
Me
players
too.
that
I think that's the issue.
they all can't get into this team and they all can't shine.
Yep.
You have Werner pushed out wide, and then he slides in the middle. You have Mount playing at like a winger role, kind of like a shadow striker. Like I saw at times the front three, whoever was in there between Pulisic, Mount, Werner on the day, like they were interchanging. Like whoever was in the middle would slide to the right, and the other guy would fill in. But for the most part, Werner stayed on the left. But yeah, all three of those guys are not all three. Everybody just can't get a consistent run. They can't get consistent performances. There were times where Mount just forced it into Werner to score a goal to get it off his back, and it put even more pressure on him. He did have a good chance. I think or Mount drilled into him in on goal, and then Aurier made a great challenge. But that was probably his best chance to score the game. But they all just can't fit into the system.
Yeah, I think that that's certainly a part of their issue. And if you look at the successful Chelsea teams of the older days, there is a lot of players. There is stars, but there is plenty of players that are just in the supporting cast. And I think that is really just part of what has changed in the sport in general. Everybody wants to be a star. Everybody wants the massive contract. Everybody wants the shoe deal. That's just the way that things have changed in sports in general. And when you don't have those guys that are just there to be the supporting cast, then sometimes you have some ego problem, and it's hard to decide who is going to get into that team on that day. And you're going to see that with Tuchel start to maybe experiment a little bit, or maybe you won't see that, and maybe he is confident with the guys that he's playing so far. I mean, they looked better this game than they did last week, so any improvement is good improvement.
Yeah, it's just tough to see not all those guys get the chance to play in a game like this. But like Ziyech didn't even make it. He didn't get in there, and
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like he's somebody that went on a deep run in the Champions League last year and was a crucial role for that Ajax team, and he done the same. I honestly think he should start
he
on the
should start.
right.
He's amazing.
He he's in his prime. He's like 27. He's like the oldest attacker we have, not counting Giroud. He just gets the ball in the wing, he cuts it back, and then whips him into the back post, which would be perfect for Alonso or Chilwell in there,
Yeah.
and even Werner there. Like, there's so many opportunities there where he puts Mount out there, and then he puts Hudson-Odoi.
Yep.
And Tuchel's found a real liking to Hudson-Odoi because he adds something so much different compared to what Mount and Pulisic have to offer. Those guys are like creative wingers, whereas Hudson-Odoi just has pure speed
Yep.
and can get in positions those guys can't.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's just trying to figure the winning formula out, and I think he's starting to get there.
Yeah. Hopefully. It's always good to see a competitive Chelsea. All right. Tomorrow at 7:30 a.m., Aston Villa takes on my club, Arsenal. Oh, I don't know. This is at Villa Park. I think Arsenal are or Villa are probably favored. So I don't have the odds in front of me. Let me see if I can get them pulled up.
Arsenal right now are plus 155, Villa plus 170. Arsenal's getting
Also,
the slight
Arsenal
edge.
are the favorite. That is interesting. So they're not really factoring in that loss against Wolves, I don't think.
I think they are the better team.
Yeah, me
It's going to be
too.
tough with Leno not in there. You have your Icelandic boy,
Yeah,
or are they going to play Matt? Are they going to? Because I know they signed Matt Ryan.
yeah, we're gonna have Runer probably Runar Runerson.
Yeah, you'll have him. No David Luiz. So
That's a
is
blessing.
Gabriel back?
Yeah, he should be playing.
You'll have him and Holding. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. That's a decent center back partnership. I'm not necessarily worried about that, and that's going to reflect my choice here. I think that Arsenal actually beat this Villa team. Villa looked somewhat impotent against West Ham, and I think Arsenal actually, are probably right on par with the way that West Ham are viewed in my mind. So, well, this season at least, not as a club in general.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm going to take Arsenal. I'm going to take Arsenal on the money line here. I like them.
I can already tell you, I'm looking at all these games. I hate this slate, bro. I have
It's
no
been
idea.
so bad, dude. The parity has been so much. It's just been through the roof.
I'm looking at this. My gut check immediately says I'm even questioning my gut check. I don't even fucking know.
That's right.
Ollie Watkins, like I said, he's in grid form. Jack Grealish on the left, matching up against Bellerin seems good.
Valorant fraud.
I'm thinking matchups like right now. You got Ross Barkley in there going up against fucking Xhaka and Partey.
Oh, fuck. Big Tom gonna absolutely boss the midfield.
Low scoring, definitely.
Yeah. Like a 1-0, 2-0. I don't think it's a draw. I just don't see a draw happening here. Both
I'm
teams
gonna
are
go.
too dynamic.
I'm gonna go Arsenal.
Okay, so we're both on Arsenal. That's fantastic news. I love to hear that. Let's move on before Matt can change his mind. Next game, Burnley versus Brighton. I am taking Burnley. I think that they bounce back this week.
My God,
What? You don't think so?
I'm just saying. Like we talked about how they play a very very good Chelsea side, and then they play City.
Yeah.
They've only registered one shot on goal.
Yeah, but
This
those
is
are
a
good
complete.
teams.
Yeah. I'm saying I'm just going through your logic, and
Yeah.
like now they're playing a Brighton side where they're definitely going to have more room to breathe.
Yeah.
They're going to have more time on the ball. But this Brighton side's pretty good on the road. If this was at
Yeah.
Brighton, 100% I'd go Burnley. But I think this is a draw.
Okay. That's the only other thing I can see happening. I don't see Brighton winning this one. I think that they're going to come back down to earth after winning a game that they certainly weren't expected to win versus Liverpool. I don't see them winning, but I can see this being a draw. Burnley win or draw is actually the pick that I would tell people to look for, and I think that the odds on that are actually probably pretty okay. But just for the sake of things, I'm going to say Burnley win. It'll only be like 1-0. That's always how they win.
And Brighton leads the league in draws right now. They have 9.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this could certainly be a draw. I think draw's a good shout. If you guys are betting, win or draw if you can.
You're
Uh,
back in Burnley, though?
yeah. How about you? You're going to go for draw?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the draw.
Okay. Next game, Newcastle, Southampton. That one's tomorrow at 10 alongside the Burnley Brighton game.
I
I'll,
have to go Southampton
I,
outright. They
I
they
do
they are
too.
looking. They're gonna pop out, bro. They need an outlet right now after that embarrassment, bro. They're gonna come out here hot.
While they are going to be missing Bednarik, and he's a huge part of their
No,
defense.
we said in the pre-show
Oh, yeah. It
the
got
appeal.
revoked.
He'll
Never
be in
mind.
there.
Okay, so never mind. Bednarik will be on the pitch. Yeah, that's even more reason to go with Southampton. You're right. They're going to bounce out here. You saw
We've,
just how
we
incompetent Newcastle were last week after going up
yeah,
1-0.
they always come out flat.
Yeah. Do you think this is high scoring?
I mean, Southampton, as of recently, give up a decent amount of goals,
Yeah.
whereas Newcastle are kind of on the same wave.
I think it could be. I think it could certainly be a high scoring game. I'm not gonna negate the idea that Newcastle could score here. I don't think it's a shutout, but I think Southampton are certainly the better team, and I think that they will win this. So we're both
I
on
think
Southampton money line.
this next one's pretty easy. We have Fulham matching up with West Ham. West Ham right now have 3 straight away wins. In David Moyes' career, his best is 4 straight away wins. Back at Man United, I think he matches that record here against Fulham.
Something is telling me I'm having a weird feeling. I'm having a Fulham or I'm having a Sheffield feeling here. So I'm gonna stick to West Ham. But if I if I somehow am alerting people that, Fulham may have a chance here and it happens, please tell your friends about the show, okay? That's all I'm asking of you. That's it. I think for my own sake though, I'm going to be betting on West Ham here. Like you said, Moyes pocketing Fulham. I think it happens again. Next game gonna be a really hard one to predict. I can see this going any of three ways. I can see it being a United win, an Everton win, or a draw. I'm gonna let you go first here. I'm still kind of contemplating this. I really don't know.
I think Man U is going to control the game. They're going to have the possession. Um, Everton on the counterattack is going to be tricky
Yeah,
with Richarlison, DCL, and I think James is going to be the ultimate decider. It's ultimately going to be him versus Bruno in there. Who's going to create the more chances for their team?
yeah,
And I think I'm going to go out and say after such a huge 9-0 win, they're going to come in with all the swag
yeah,
and confidence in the world at home. They're going to think they can conquer anybody, but I'm going to take Everton here. I think they can pull out an upset. I think they're going to bring them back to reality. We're talking about Luke Shaw being overrated. We're talking about Paul Pogba being an Instagram player. Cavani's actually scoring, which doesn't happen. I think Everton can win this. It's going to put them into that top four mix, potentially, depending on how other results go. But I think this is the time Everton's going to push up into that race for European football.
yeah. Oh, look, it just looks like my camera is frozen, so that's really cool. That's cool. Dude, this episode has just been fucking technical nightmare, huh? All right, well, if you're watching the video version, you're just getting to see a fucking video of my face right now. Sorry, guys. We'll run through these quick so you don't have to stare at my fucking blank face. I'm actually gonna take United here for the sake of difference between us, but also because I do think United are um, more capable of putting a ton of goals in. We have seen that, and I know I said earlier the 9-0 is not indicative of United's form, and I think that sentiment still rings true. But I do think that United are capable of scoring against good teams. I think that they could score 2 or 3 against this Everton side. I think it's a close one, but I'm gonna take United here, and you're gonna take Everton. All right. Next game, Tottenham versus West Brom. Oh, if Tottenham lose here against West Brom, they are in the depths. That being said, I do not think that they are going to lose to West Brom. I think that Tottenham win here, and I think West Brom continue their horrible, horrible slide.
I think after this week, Harry Kane's going to be back. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
expected back for the following match. So one more week of Sun struggling.
Mhm.
They just can't get, even against Brighton, they couldn't get many good chances. I know they played Bale and they came out in their usual 4-3-3. And then against Chelsea, they came out in a 4-2-3-1. Mourinho wanted more structure.
Yeah.
I think he's going to go back to a 4-3-3 against West Brom. They're going to have more of the ball. Sam's going to want to park that shit.
Yeah.
But with the amount of goals they give up a game, I think Tottenham win this thing. Not easy, but I think they get the edge over West Brom.
Okay. We're both on Tottenham. Next game, Wolves versus Leicester City. Wolves, after stealing 3 points last week versus Arsenal, do not win this game. Leicester continue their good form. Leicester win 2-0, in my opinion. I don't even think this game is in contention. I think that Leicester are going to easily win here. After looking good last week, I think that they continue that, and I am confident in a Leicester City win here.
Um, I do like Leicester. If I had to pick, I give them the edge. But I think Wolves getting that win was so much needed for their confidence and for Nuno as a manager to have going into this matchup against a very, very highly rated Leicester team.
Yeah.
They are still without Jamie Vardy, which is a big boost for those Wolves defenders. I think this is the time Jose is going to get his debut goal. So I'm going to go with a draw here. I just, in my mind, I can't get through that Leicester is going to come out and ball out like Man City and Liverpool and Chelsea and these teams. I just don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's like the prestige of like them doing it year in year out, finishing top four, top six, but I just don't see them getting the win here. So I'm gonna go with a draw.
Okay. Fair enough. Next game, Liverpool, Man City, probably the game of the week. I think Man City United. How about that? I think Man City absolutely fucking hammer Liverpool into the ground here. I think that they continue their unbeaten streak. There's not really anything that I've seen in City's performances that would lead me to say otherwise. I don't see any holes, really. Unfortunately, it's tragic to say because I don't really want to see City win the league just because of their money, but that's what we're seeing here. There is no holes in their game, and Liverpool aren't even exploiting teams that do have holes in their game. So why would I expect them to win here? That's my logic, and I'm confident in the Man City money line.
Yeah, right now Man City's plus 110, which is absolute robbery. You can get away
Yeah,
with murder with that.
so unreal, dude.
But it's at Anfield. Obviously, of lately that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the ultimate decider is that Liverpool defense and going up against its a methodical attack like City with Gundogan, Bernardo Silva in there picking passes, Sterling, Jesus Foden, Mahrez. They have so many options that are gonna fill into those little pockets and create a lot of chances. I don't know if Allison's gonna be healthy from being ill. Probably will, but we're gonna probably see Mane back. Salah, Firmino. I think they're really gonna be tested here, Man City. This is gonna be a real big um, litmus test to see how good they really are and if they really are in it um, against the big sides because they've been walking over all the little teams lately. I think Thiago in the midfield is going to be very, very crucial to how Liverpool wins this game. He picks out so many great passes. He's been playing every week now for the past month, and his passing range is incredible. He's
Yep.
putting guys like Origi into positions you never thought you'd see him in. So I think if Liverpool wants a chance in this game, he's going to have to ball out. But I do see Man City win this game.
Yep. I do too. Okay. Um Oh, something's burning downstairs or what? All right, let's close this out quickly. Sheffield United take on Chelsea. I'm on Chelsea here. They got a draw and then a win, and I think they continue the win here. Although we were kind of singing Sheffield's praises earlier. I don't think they're good enough to beat this Chelsea side, who are experiencing a resurgence because of their new hiring. Chelsea money line, I am extremely confident in.
I think out of our last 3, 4 matches, I think this is going to be the toughest one because of the form Sheffield's in right now and Chris Wilder with the boys. Like they're so tight, and that unit in the back's very, very, very tough to break down. So it's going to be low scoring, obviously. And I'm going to have to go with Chelsea here because I said once they start pulling results, I'm going to go with them again. So I will take Chelsea, but I can definitely see this thing being a draw. So as of right now, it's going to be Chelsea money line for me.
Okay. And then the last game, Leeds United, Crystal Palace. This could be a good game. This could be a game that goes either way. I think Leeds won the first matchup between these teams this year, and I'm gonna take them again. I think that they win again. I think that after that performance versus Everton, they're gonna be mad that they didn't get the win because I think they deserved it. and I think they will get a deserved win versus this Palace team.
Uh, I'm looking at this head to head, and it's saying the last time these guys played, Palace won 4-1. So it was very shocking. I mean, you had Eze getting on the score sheet, IU, and there was even an own goal. This was like a bad result for Leeds, but you're thinking recent form and all that. Crystal Palace are in decent form, whereas Leeds are kind of on the same level. But you still have to remember Leeds are terrible on defense.
Yeah, they are. You're right. They,
So this is going to be a very, very high scoring game, I think, with Eze and Zaha. And we know Leeds are very good too with Bamford, and Rafinha's been popping up as well. They have a good support cast for those guys. So high scoring game, but I think this ultimately ends in a draw.
okay. All right, that's fair. We have a couple different choices here, but I think mostly we kind of are similar. That caps off the episode for us guys. Another hour and 20. These episodes are getting a little longer. You're getting a little more insight. They're a little bit more well written. I know Matt goes heavy on the notes. So
I didn't do anything today because I knew it'd be like 2 hours. I'm gonna save those for like Mondays.
okay, all right. Yeah, so thank you guys as always for listening. Sorry if you're watching the video version and you just had to look at my fucking staring face. For some reason my camera decided to just like freeze. And if I unplug it, then it's just going to be black screen. So I just let it be. But thanks anyway for dealing with the technical difficulties, for dealing with us, for watching the show. If you guys can, please share with the folks that you think would enjoy our show. Make sure to keep up with our content on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and then make sure you watch our show on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and now YouTube. That's it for me, Matt. Anything from you?
Nope. Ditto to everything Evan said. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and check me out on Monday for Trips M. Depending on how Evan's feeling with his schoolwork, I'm sure he'll try to put something out for Wake Up Wednesday. But
Yep.
if not, we'll see you next Friday.
All right, guys. Take care.